Thank you for coming back to my channel. I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. This is the Ultimate After Show where I recap TUF 25. This will be episode 8 of the Ultimate Fighter season 25. There was 2 fights on this episode. Joe Stevenson versus Hyder Sun, and then the first quarterfinal fight, which was between Tom Colicchio and Justin Edwards. This was a good episode. They had 2 fights, as I said, which that for me, that's what I'm more interested in, is the fights. They didn't have any backstory because they've already done that through the series, so they didn't really show you into these guys' life, which I'm glad, because I get tired of that sappy stuff sometimes. But they showed a little bit of fight prep, and there really wasn't any drama between the coaches. There was one little incident where TJ went back to get some gloves, and Cody was in the hallway, and they kind of started talking shit a little bit. They spent like 30 seconds on it, so it really wasn't much. There wasn't a whole lot of drama there. One thing I did want to add about Cody's coaching style, he has a method where he does like a circuit where he has a fighter who's training for a fight. He'll have just a bunch of chaos going in the ring. He'll have like a guy working his ground, and then he'll immediately have another guy, and he'll have to pop up and do some stand-up, and then he'll have to do some wrestling over here, and then he'll have another guy come in and do some mitt work. And I thought that was kind of a cool way to go about preparing for a fight, because it kind of gets you used to a little bit of chaos, because sometimes when you step in that, that cage, you don't know what's going to happen. Man, you have a game plan, and that shit just goes out the window. You get hit, or this guy, you think he's going to shoot in for takedowns, and he just does not. And your game plan's like, what? So I thought that was a cool method of training some fighters to get used to not knowing what's coming next, and just, the chaos of the cage. So I wanted to say, kudos to Cody for training his fighters like that. That was really cool. At least maybe maybe they use that a lot of places, but I just thought that was a cool insight to see how they train that way. So the first fight between Joe Stevenson and Hyder Sun, I really did not want to see Joe come back, especially after that bad loss he took last week. I thought they should have chose somebody else to come back. I was glad to see Hyder Sun get a second chance. I'm a big, Joe Stevenson fan, but I didn't want to see him lose 2 weeks in a row. Especially, I thought, him going up against a heavy hitter like Hassan, and I thought that some, bad stuff could happen, and I just didn't want to see that for him. It basically went as we thought. Joe went for a quick takedown. And Hassan stuffed it. And next thing you know, Hassan cracks him with an uppercut and just lays Joe out. And he's on the ground, and Hyder does very little ground and pound. And then the referee stops it within, I think, 20 seconds of the fight. So it was a quick fight, over before it even really began. I hate to see Joe go out like that. But, man, that's the fight game, and Hassan is tough, man, and he's got power. I really like Joe, and you can tell that everybody in the house has much respect for him. Joe Stevenson, he's a champ in my eyes, and everybody in the house respects him and looks up to him as well as they should. He holds himself like a champ, whether he loses or he wins. He's respectful, and he's been there. He's a vet. He's done it all, you know what I'm saying? So much respect to him. And I thought it was very cool that he wanted to pray with both teams after the fight, no matter what happened, whether win or loss. And, just to get together and say thanks, no matter who you pray to or whatever. I think it was more of a thanks thing, because they're a tight-knit community, the fighters. They know what each other's going through and the sacrifices they make. And, he just wanted to share that camaraderie and pray with one another. Joe was saying that, it's amazing, we live in a great country where, a Muslim, Hassan, can pray with a Christian like Joe Stevenson. But I just thought it was funny that I think Joe Stevenson looks more like a Muslim than Hyder Sun. But, that's just what I think. I just thought it was kind of funny. Then you had the coaches challenge in between the two fights, and this was a new one. They had tetherball, which I don't think I've ever played tetherball. It just looks boring as fuck. I mean, you're just hitting a ball around a rope, but they put a twist to it. You know what I'm saying? They put a balance beam in the pool, and you have to balance. And when you're hitting the ball back and forth, that can knock your balance off. As shown by TJ, before the game even started, he fell back into the water. He lost his balance, So it obviously shows you it's pretty tough to get up there and balance on that, probably just a few inches. They went back and forth. Cody got a pretty good lead. I think he was up 8-4. And then it seemed like TJ is pretty cerebral, you know what I'm saying? He figured out the game. He figured out that, as the ball goes around, it gets closer to the pole. So when he's, as it goes around, you scoot closer and keep hitting it. And, when you start out far back. And then as it goes around, you slowly creep forward, bam, bam, bam. And you try to do it at an arc. That way your opponent can't hit it. And it comes to you, And it seems like TJ, after a few rounds, he got the hang of things, the swing of things, if you will. And he was down, it was 8-4, and he came back and won. I think it was 10-8. So he's a smart dude. He's cerebral, figures things out. And, he came back and he won that 10 G's, man. He won that stack of cash, And his team each got $1,500 each. So that's not bad payday right there, man. In the second fight, you had Tom Colicchio versus Justin Edwards. This was a good fight. I would have picked, Justin Edwards. He's got heavy hands. He's a good striker. He's got a wicked guillotine. Tom Colicchio, he's known for his back taking and his rear naked chokes. And so as the fight started, Justin Edwards was just piecing up Tom. You could tell that Tom's stand-up wasn't very good, at least not compared to Justin Edwards. Justin was just clocking him, you know what I mean? Tom just kept coming in, and his head was just upright, like just a stationary target. And Justin was clocking him, and he got him. He knocked him down with the overhand right, I think. Man, he just set Tom down. And then he went for a guillotine, which he's really good at. And he tried to finish with the guillotine. And oddly enough, Tom had been training with Joe Daddy, who's excellent at guillotine defense. He was in the last fight against Justin Edwards. Justin had Joe in a guillotine, and it was tight, but Joe got out. So he was, the driving force between teaching Tom how to, work out of the guillotine. And sure enough, man, Tom Colicchio worked out of that guillotine, and then Justin tried to scramble to get back to his feet. And what did Tom do? He does what he does, man. He took his back, got that, got the back take, and then he sunk in that rear naked choke. He must have a wicked squeeze, man, because it didn't really look like it was totally under the chin, but he got Justin to tap, and it was a pretty quick fight itself, which I kind of knew it would be. The fight started and there was only like 8 minutes left in the episode, so I figured it was a finish, one way or the other. But a good win for Hyder Sun and good win for Tom Colicchio. So, and they already announced the fights for the quarterfinals, and I can't remember who's fighting who, but that it's shaping up to be a really good season, really good fights. I really enjoyed this episode. Anyways, guys, please tell me what you guys thought about the episode. Who you picking going forward? There's some really good matchups now that I remember. Ramsey Nijem versus James Krause. That's the matchup I'm looking forward to the most. That, I think, is got the potential to be the winner out of that. Also, what's his name? Jesse Taylor's taking on. Who's Jesse Taylor taking on? I can't remember. Oh, man. Anyways, I can't remember. But whoever he's fighting, that's another one that I think is going to be a good matchup. Well, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody that watches. Like, comment, subscribe, share. If you know somebody that might like the video, share it with them. And as always, I'll be coming back next week for another Ultimate After Show. Appreciate you watching. Till next time.